Every week, Riverbanks receives questions from around the world about procedures. If you have a question, then email or tweet in to us. Details will appear at the end of the show. Now, I've got a selection of such questions here for Dr. Jain. Dr. Jain, welcome.
Hello.
Hi there. Mel from Leeds tweeted in, if I have Botox, will I look frozen? Now, that's a concern men and women alike share all over, don't they?
Not if you come to Riverbanks.
Right.
Okay, and that's really key here, okay? Many people do want the frozen look, believe it or not.
Really?
And one of the things I say to them is, we don't do frozen here, okay? Because number one, it doesn't look natural, okay? Number two, it's not in the patient's best interests, because if you freeze the muscles for long periods of times, they will lose their bulk, okay? And then afterwards, they won't look as natural. You know, they may look odd, and you may recruit other muscles, and so increase the chance of other wrinkles developing later. So frozen is not good for you in any way whatsoever, particularly in the muscles and the expressions of positive expression, like smiling and laughing and even looking surprised, you know?
Yes.
If you take away the ability to look cross, actually, so that's typically the frown line between the eyebrows, like mine here, okay? If you take that away, people actually don't notice that so much. Okay.
Is this, I've heard of something through advertisements, baby Botox. Is that the same thing as just putting less is more? In terms
I think baby Botox, yeah, it's addressing that fact, because previously Botox was about freezing, okay, and this came back from the older style treatments, came back from the US original treatments where they wanted treatments to last for 6 to 7 months, you know, and people would freeze for about 4 of those months and then start to look good the latter half, you know. And what's happening now, you know, because this is something in the UK we've been very aware of, is trying to make sure people look natural at all times and retain some movement, but not enough to cause a wrinkle or a crease. Okay.
It's important for us presenters, Claudia,
to
still be
tell
able
me
to
all
move
about
our
it.
expressions.
Well, you know, you can tell on the TV and watch the certain presenters who's had good Botox and who's had not good Botox, and who maybe needs some. You know?
And not just a good night's sleep, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But so yeah, that's it. And now the US colleagues are now treating in the same way as the UK are. They're trying to go for a natural look.
Well, we've got another inquiry, and this one's via the website, and someone has asked, how many treatments does it take for my body contouring to work?
Okay.
I suppose that's quite an open question, because it could be any types of...
Well, yes, I assume that the person's talking about a non-invasive body contouring treatment, such as the Med Contour or the Cool Tech, okay? So Med Contour is once a week for 6 weeks, typically on an area. So let's say a tummy or inner thighs or an outer thighs, okay? Cool Tech typically is between 1 and 2 treatments, 6 to 7 weeks apart. So you could only need 1 treatment to get the result you need. You may need 2, at the very most 3. But so what we find is that people tend to go for the Cool Tech if they are very time restricted. And then other people tend to go for the Med Contour if they're less time restricted, and then some people go for the combination of both.
It's great that these treatments are out there now that are so... It was the downtime, I think, that bothered a lot of people, and I think it's great to be able to
Yes,
have these
exactly, and for how long they'd be put out as such, isn't it? Now, we've also had a patient emailing in from London. How can I get rid of blemishes and fine lines on my face?
Okay, so the first thing we need to address there is what's caused these. Is there a family history? Is there a genetic tendency? Is there a history of sun damage when they were younger? Right. Do they smoke?
Talking about blemishes now.
Yes, smoking, toxin intake such as alcohol, smoking, poor diet. All of these lifestyle and environmental factors we take into account. Once we've identified any causes, we can then address them. Primarily, a lot of the time it's sun damage. Okay, so a blemish may be a dark area of pigmentation on someone's face. Typically shows up late 30s to early 40s after a sunny holiday, and they've never had anything before.
But these days you don't have to go onto a sunny holiday to damage your skin like this. You go into town and that's that.
Well, luckily now we have some weather, yes, exactly. but I think people forget that in their teens, they may have been on these sunny holidays and used Hawaiian Tropic Zero or oil or 2 and roasted and said, I'll get brown when I go home. You know, and it's that mentality which they're paying for it now, 20 years down the line.
I think we're all guilty of that. I mean, I've been from New Zealand myself, but people now are so aware of the sun because we've got really bad sort of ozone.
But you know, Stephen, to me, it's the education of a generation.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's starting to come through now. So how do we treat it? Typically, maybe a combination of some gentle skin peels, which may cause mild peeling for 1 or 2 days, and you can predict so over a weekend maybe, okay? Or you can use a course of IPL Light, which is generally once a month for about between 3 to 5 months, which helps target those blemishes and red veins and redness with no downtime.
Okay.
And then there's the strongest treatment we do, which is called laser skin resurfacing, which addresses most of the signs of sun damage, including tired skin, lack of collagen, dehydration, pigmentation, fine lines, wrinkles. But there is more of a downtime with that.
Would that be traditionally a treatment suitable more for an older patient?
It depends. Not really, because an older patient may need a stronger treatment or a more frequent treatments, okay? But we can adjust the strength and power and parameters of each. I mean, that's the same with all of our treatments. Every treatment is customized to that patient's skin on the day. The next time they come from, they may have a different parameters. So it's not one treatment, a blanket treatment for everyone, you know?
Now, Dr. Jain, we've got another question. This is actually someone has tweeted in, and they've said they're obviously really interested in laser hair removal, but are really concerned about the risks. Are there extreme risks with laser hair removal?
Laser hair removal is extremely popular, okay? It's become more and more available to people since the deregulation of lasers in this country 2 or 3 years ago now, okay? This has opened up the doors to many businesses that have opened up lasers in the back of their homes, on any high street shop, and as a result, people are now less trained than they were. They're less qualified to do the treatments. And now we are seeing more and more complications of laser hair removal coming through, such as burning, okay, because it's still a laser, okay, so people are getting burnt. Maybe they're being undertreated, so they're actually getting increased stimulation of hair growth as opposed to cessation of hair growth, okay. And we're also getting striping. Some people have they have strips of hair left behind, okay, so because they've not been correctly treated. So I think the biggest complication, and then there's hyperpigmentation as well. So this is where the skin turns darker once it's been injured, and this is more common in darker skin, such as my skin type or darker.
But this is mainly due to the lack of regulation that we mentioned before. Who can actually do these types of treatments?
Unthinkable to me. I mean, it's and that you know, as a patient, I wouldn't accept this. I would want a renowned clinic to know what they do. I would want to trust the fact that I need a professional to perform this, and they know what they do.
And men and women have these treatments, I presume, both?
Absolutely. I mean, men go for bodies, you know, chest and shoulders and backs, and some of them go for the chin, neck areas.
I'm sure the last time I met you, Ravi, you had a pretty hairy chest. Have you?
What are you insinuating? I don't know. Still some there.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, keep that to ourselves.
On that note, if you want to find out any more information about these treatments, obviously go to the Riverbanks website. You can tweet in, post on Facebook. But thank you very much for your time, and we'll see you next time.
That's it.